Welcome back. Could we see the mother of all inward listings on the JSE? No ABHP Anglo mega merger, but the mighty Tencent. So stories floating that they might come and start, be essentially ADRs or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. ADRs, ABCs, Bright Kumalos, whatever. We will buy them. Anything that will list on the JSE and anything to, make the Naspers structure less complicated, please, I'm for that. There'll be some value unlocked there. And hopefully, I don't know, I just feel like we need more stocks to be listed on the JSE. If Tencent does come here, can they do the same with the Saudis while they still have their attention?
Well, this is, last week we spoke about a memorandum of understanding between ourselves and the Saudis. Yeah. We have a similar sort of setup with the Hong Kong exchange, don't we?
I think we do, yes.
So would that say to you that the JSE is doing its best to try and attract listings?
Correct. Bring us
attract a bit more activity?
Yeah, correct. Bring us exciting stuff, technology, not the dying property stocks that are dying there in Hong Kong. But bring us the exciting stuff, innovation, something that's young, vibrant, and have you clicked on the on your terminal when you click on under technology on the JSE? You know what appears?
Nothing.
Go try it.
It's data tech.
Mustec,
EO8.
And yeah, exactly. We need players in those sectors.
But hang on, for the record, I don't have a terminal.
You know what I meant.
I know what you mean, but
look at the listing, Business Day.
Yeah, I know. I look at Business Day. I do it old school.
We've had a few results to chew over this week, from CMH to AB InBev to Sappi to little old Carp Agri, which may be instructive for many companies in its load-shedding journey. Here is CEO Sean Walsh.
So fortunately, with the lower load shedding, we've been able to reduce expenditure on that. We've also spent in the last year over 20 million on alternative energy installations at our business units. We've installed power saving devices, etc. So load shedding this year, impact last year was around 9% of our growth. This year, we are probably experiencing about half of that. And for the year to date, only around 22 million spent on load shedding.
Only.
But now last year might have been the worst for South African companies. And you're going to start seeing, businesses have insulated themselves from the power crisis or done their bit too. And you're going to see, hopefully, a growth path from here. That's my takeaway. I don't know if I'm being overly optimistic.
I'm a born optimist. I want to see South African companies do better. I want us to be spending more on those companies. I want us to invest in those companies. So, but it's been very hard, currently with what's happening with load shedding. And yes, companies, it's either you survive or you die. So companies will do anything and everything it takes, to survive, even if it's at a cost of the shareholders, which most of them have. This could have been dividends coming to shareholders. Yeah. This could have been reinvestment in the business to grow. But this is more apparent and more important to do this now, or otherwise you're basically buying away your growth.
Yeah, they had negative revenue growth. I mean, by a slightly smidge.
Which is impressive.
But they got
in
their
our current context.
Yeah, but 100%, and they got their headline earnings up. It's cost control. They're not growing the business. They're cutting costs where they can, which is sad, because imagine if they had growth at the same time.
Yeah, but imagine if maybe their volumes actually increased.
Yeah.
But just a comment here. Just before we came on air, I was reading a News24 article, and it was quoting a couple of people from Business for South Africa, the working group that's trying to help government with its various problems, energy, logistics, crime. And they're saying that actually they could see load shedding done by 2025.
Yeah.
And sooner than, and I think the government's own forecast for 2027, which is very positive.
No, that's great news for South African companies and us, people who inhabit this crazy country.
And let's be clear, load shedding is not going because Eskom fixes it, but because everyone's putting solar panels up.
Yep, and also because the load factor is going down. So if there's no demand for your product, of course it's going to be much easier to produce your product.
So I see a scenario where we start doing, I don't know, let's go crazy, 8% GDP growth, and we just keep on bumping into no power and we're stuck. But anyway, for the first time in a long time, AB InBev is looking like something you might want to own. And for reasons clear to all of us, South Africans are drinking beer in record numbers. Corona tomorrow. So they did the classic, we saw it with the tobacco guys as well, where volumes are under pressure, but they go and find their premium brand, Corona, and sell it to a mass. I was at a Mexican thing on the weekend, and man, that Corona's beer's a dredge,
water.
Corona's a dredge. But people were drinking it by the
I
truckload.
like Corona.
My bad, sorry.
See what I mean?
Awkward.
It's a friendly beer that anyone can drink. It's not Black
It's
Label.
quaffable.
Yeah, it's not Black Label. Black Label is a beer that someone who
Careful,
loves
because
beer
my
drinks.
back. Okay, because I'm saying Black Label's
only
my
the manliest
sister's.
of men would drink, because that's
No,
what
no,
you're
no,
trying
no,
to
no,
say,
no,
Bryce.
no. Black Label is actually sweeter than Castle. That will be
My
Castle.
sister drinks Black Label. That's
Yeah,
the
so
beer of choice.
it's sweet.
But-
It has its people.
But isn't it interesting that in its various markets which it serves, which is all over the
Mom, I
world,
don't drink beer.
Brazil and South Africa, record volumes.
Yes. So I mean, when you're drinking down, you're most likely to drink beer, because you're not gonna drink, cheaper gin,
Cheaper wine.
cheaper whiskey. You don't know what's in there.
Actually, that's true.
So you're gonna drink down. You're gonna drink wines. Local wines are always affordable, and you're gonna drink lots and lots of beer.
But it's also not telling perhaps that Heineken's just messing up.
Look, Heineken, they've got their own
Yes.
issues in the SADC region. So I think management is on top of that. But the point I wanted to add to AB InBev is that I think it was about 4 or 3 years ago, they spoke about being aggressive in paying down the debt, because they saw that it's becoming really a burden, an Achilles heel in their growth. And actually, it's kind of like something blocking their lungs in their breathing process, and they want to take that very seriously. And fast forward to 2024, I'm actually seeing that outcome.
Yeah,
and
it's happening.
you have to say, management, yes, we know you come from, the school of let's load debt into this thing and see what happens, but now you're doing the reverse and you're actually prioritizing innovation. It's working. Keep up the good work.
Well, as for Sappi, another difficult year, actually hasn't it had a tough year, which is why forecasts should be taken always with a little pinch of salt.
In terms of the quarter itself, we have guided that the EBITDA will be down quarter on quarter, but it's not because of the underlying demand for our products. That continues to improve. It's purely because of the shuts that I mentioned. And I would expect that the final quarter of the year, we will continue to rise in terms of profitability. Capital allocation, as you would imagine, for a business like Sappi, is extremely important. And the main project that we have underway at the moment is a big conversion in the US.
Sappi.
I think everyone knows well our feelings towards Sappi.
Steve Binney turned the TV off. If there's one stock to delist, why can't it be Sappi? It's also, their results are complicated. There's so many moving parts, different currencies, things like that. And you get to the end and you're like,
Did they go forward or did they go back?
Was it all worth it going through all those numbers?
am I going to buy it?
Am I going to get paid to look at those numbers?
No. Your clients aren't going to buy it either.
Yeah, next.
Okay, next. Try as they might, there's been little fighting in an overstocked office market in South Africa, but Redefine is doing its damnedest.
Our business, if you look, let's start with the South African portfolio.
Yeah.
Solid organic growth on a like-for-like basis of 3.5%. That is really good trading. We've done some good deals in terms of leasing. And also, we've seen very high occupancy in our South African portfolio in the deep 90s. So that is what is driving the organic growth in South Africa. Similarly, in our Poland business, which is in EPP retail, we've seen also very good trading stats coming out of that business.
So when I was a kid, I had this obsession of, I'm going to be a property baron. I mean, it was a thing.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Even before that. But yes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that whole high school nonsense. And, I have to say, property is a tough business. Even in New York, where everything works and everything, it's just tough. It's tough. It needs tough people. And operating in an environment like South Africa, you need to be a little bit tougher and patient. I don't think I have the toughness and the patience. And I look at, Redefine, and I'm saying, call me when it reaches 11 rands. And 11 rands would not be a good level, by the way. It will be just the level that they hit, 10, 11, 12 years ago. So it's sad. So when someone says to me, our business is doing exceptionally well, there's organic growth in property, I'm like, good for you. The share price says otherwise, though.
Share price says otherwise. I mean, I spoke to them, and like the only place they're seeing any good office is literally Cape Town and Rosebank. That's it.
But then you also, you do much better to invest directly, on your own name into those.
Oh, do not go. What you just said, do not go into property.
Yes,
Park that
Colin,
right there.
you
And
just undid everything there.
And finally, don't let the computers have the last say. At least that's our takeaway from the news, that a UK council is to ban apostrophes on real-life street signs to avoid problems with computer systems. The North Yorkshire Council is ditching the punctuation point after careful consideration, saying it can affect geographical databases. Well, to hell with that, we say, how do we know our it's from our it's? It's only downhill. Folks, I say it's an excellent idea. It's an it's. Why are we fighting about it's and it's? It's it's. I can't do apostrophe. Is it bright spar or bright spar? No more apostrophes. Ban them.
It sounds,
I'm moving to
it
where's
sounds
this?
like?
North Yorkshire. I am gone.
Is that where you're going? No, it sounds like, South Africa is run by bots and the UK is the same story.
I am horrified to my very core. And that's where we shall leave it. I think. Let's close the show. Bright, thanks for joining us. Have a good evening and a great weekend.